everyone. Welcome to the 12th episode of the Music Mind Lab. I'm so excited today to be joined by Ana Chirinos, who is just an absolutely incredible cellist and one of my dearest friends. So, Ana, thank you so much for being here today and talking with me on my podcast. I'm so excited. So, I was wondering if we could start off with some introductions. So, maybe could you talk about when you started playing the cello and why you started?
Okay, well, hello everybody who will be watching this podcast. As Kayleen said, my name is Ana, and it's such an honor to be here, really. Thank you so much. But I play, obviously, the cello, and I started actually on the violin, so I haven't been loyal to the cello forever. I started when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I actually started on the violin because my mom, my dad, and my sister are all musicians. And so I've kind of been always in that environment. So I was kind of destined to be a musician, but I didn't know which instrument to like really pick. But I started on the violin. I got bored eventually. So I just switched to the cello because my dad was like, oh, I kept going to their concerts since they were in Symphony Orchestra. So I was like, oh, I really want to be like this cool like my dad. So I just like picked the cello and boom, I've been with the cello ever since. It's been a couple of years now.
I wanted to ask you actually a little bit more about growing up in such a musical family because I also have older siblings that play instruments as well, but for you is especially very, very musical because of your parents. So I was wondering if you could talk a bit about what that was like for you. I'm just really curious. Do you think growing up surrounded by so many musicians made learning the cello easier for you, or did it add
I
extra pressure?
think it definitely did. Actually, like to both questions you just asked me, definitely both. I think it has been such like a big help for me because growing up with musician parents and a sister, it's been kind of such like opportunity to like even more growth than like what your teacher or anybody else could like give you. Because I mean, you have it at home. You don't have to go anywhere to like just get the knowledge or whatever. Like you have it at home. And I feel like that for me has been helpful and I'm so, so grateful. But it has also been a lot of pressure. Because since I mean, they're very successful and they had very successful careers. My sister does too. Like, she's up there doing big things. So it's kind of your like pressure to not let them down. So that's what I mean when it's like a lot of pressure. But still super, super duper grateful.
Of course. And you are clearly not letting them down because you have been doing huge things. And I just wanted to ask you about some of that. So, specifically this year, you went to the Sphinx competition and you did so amazing. I literally go back and watch that recording. I'm not even kidding. I literally watched it like last week again. It's just so breathtaking, and every single time you go on the stage, like you kill it every single time. So I was just wondering, what was the preparation process for that competition like? And maybe if you could also talk about just like for performances in general, how do you manage that going on stage and delivering the way you do?
Well, wow. Thank you so much, Kaylee. I think, okay, this is kind of funny because 2025, when Sphinx applications were like kind of coming to a close, I remember very well. It was October 17th. I started recording. The auditions were due October 20th. And I started preparing 2 weeks for the recording, like 2 weeks prior to the recording. So I was like, I have to get a pianist. I have to practice, blah, blah, blah. But I took it very chill. I mean, obviously, I didn't take much time. I wasn't like looking a year ahead for the competition. So I was like, okay, I took it very chill. I was like, if I get in, whatever. And if I also get in, that's great. So, I didn't expect to get like to the semifinalist round. So I was like, oh my God. But once I received the email, I was like, okay, so now I know I can play and I know I can do my job like playing very well. So I've basically like prepared for this competition. Just, I'm trying to do it like the best I can and not focus on like any like distractors because I know when you're going into these big things, I understand that when it comes like very close, a lot can like you can get in your mind very easily. So that's what I made sure to work on like the most, not as much as like the playing aspect of it because I mean, I've had this piece for a long time and it's kind of been just like a work of kind of reinforcing things. But I made sure to like prepare mentally for this a lot. So that's kind of what helped me for this preparation. And I mean, like the playing, I got up there on stage and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have fun. I don't care about the result. I've already come so far, and I think I was like very proud of myself. Like even if I don't get anything, this is a big accomplishment already. So, I just let go of the result and kind of just like was there in the moment, not like looking ahead.
Such a good mindset, and it definitely showed on stage. This is kind of a little switch in direction, but I also, because a little bit of backstory to everyone who's listening to this. I met Anna at Center Stage Strings, which is summer camp we went to last year.
The
So much
best.
fun, and we were playing in the same chamber groups together. We just talked about Sphinx, which was your big solo performance and competition experience. And so I was wondering, since you are also such an active orchestra musician as well, and you're such an amazing chamber musician, as I know personally, how did you get involved with chamber and orchestra as well?
Obviously, I grew up and was born in Venezuela. So I was in the El Sistema program for like orchestras and stuff. So that program is very orchestra based. It's like actually it says like El Sistema something something for orchestra. Like if it's not anything else, it's gonna be orchestra for sure. So I've always been in orchestras. Like I've been in a lot of orchestras my entire life actually. Obviously I took private lessons, but was not involved in chamber music back then because we didn't really have that culture. So basically like 80% of my life has been involved in orchestra. So I'm obviously used to working with a lot of people, and that's actually what I like. I love working with people and I love doing music with people. So I feel like going into chamber music, which is, I mean, obviously very different because you're not like backed by others in your section. You're just alone. You're basically like being a solo, but you have to like work with others. So I think that aspect of like getting used to a group wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I mean, I love doing chamber music. And I think you definitely have to have some knowledge from orchestra to apply to chamber music and from chamber music to apply to orchestra. I mean, like it just I like all connects, and I think it's amazing. I mean, even if you're playing like with a solo with a pianist, you have to have chamber music there. Like you have to know how to collaborate with people. So I think it's very important that even if you want to pursue like a soloist career, you might have to have like some group experience to know how to work with other people, if that makes sense.
Makes so much sense, and I completely agree. I just want to kind of touch on that a little bit more because I also grew up more in orchestra, and then I kind of switched to chamber and when I went to high school, and then I entered this chamber music
Yeah.
academy. And definitely what you said, I was like shocked at how much my orchestra experience carried over. But then at the same time, I feel like one of the big differences between orchestra and chamber is with orchestra, it's all conductor led, etc. And with chamber, it's like you have to be so much more active in
Yeah,
making decisions
yes, for
and leading
sure.
rehearsals. And then, so I was wondering for you, do you have any advice or like maybe some lessons that you learned from your chamber orchestra experiences on how to collaborate effectively with big groups of people or with other musicians who might have different ideas?
Well, I have had in like regards to like the conductor aspect of it, I have had all types of conductors. I have had conductors that I can't understand, that I can't just follow, and conductors that I can follow really well, just like off the rip. And what I have to say about that is just like you have to be immersed. I don't care how well you know your music. You have to be really immersed and not just you have to know other people's parts. That's what I do personally. Like when I get a new like rep for orchestra or like a chamber piece, I listen to it so many times that I know like others people's part by memory. And I can confidently say that. So it's like you have to know other people's parts so you know what's going on in case you can't follow the conductor. And you have to be very active watching and just thinking in your mind. And if you can't follow the conductor, you can look at the other principles. And it's just like you can't like think that you're just playing and you're doing not doing anything. Because whether you're a section leader or whether you're just in the section, you have to lead from where you're at. And leading can come from just like trying to follow everybody else and trying to make the ensemble come together.
But I definitely agree so much with what you just said, and I definitely saw it coming to life when we were playing together in chamber at
Yes.
CSS. That was so much fun. And then I also wanted to talk a bit about CSS, also because you did do other programs as well, like International Cello Institute, right? And these really cool like opportunities over the summer. And I was just wondering for you, what were some of the most valuable lessons you learned, or maybe some of the most memorable experiences from your time at these summer opportunities?
Well, first of all, the people that I got to collaborate with just were straight up amazing, starting with you. I mean, just like I said earlier, I love working with people, and if I can connect with somebody like really well, I like the job just gets so much like more enjoyable and easy for me. So I would say a valuable experience is that connect with as many people as you possibly can. Because you will, whether you're collaborating with them or not in your group, you will always find something, some piece of advice or something that that person does that can be helpful to you and that you can apply to your own thing, even if they're not in your like group. Like to say your quartet, they're not in your quartet or your duo or whatever. So like always connect with people because people will all have always something to say, whether if it's bad or good. But if it's good, you can apply it to what you're doing. And that would be, I think that would be very helpful because you have like so many other points of view that you can like kind of like just splash them everywhere and be like, okay, but this is here, but this is also here, and this works, this doesn't work. So you have like many perspectives. So
Building on to that, I loved how we had so many different teachers at CSS and we got to see the master classes as
for
well
sure.
for different instruments as well. Like I remember really distinctly the Mira Eldon master class. That one, so good. And I think like you
So,
were
so good.
saying, having so many different perspectives and being able to like incorporate some parts and also just decide what works and what doesn't work for yourself is just so valuable for improving
Yes.
as a musician. I was also wondering, because you mentioned earlier about how, there are so many other people at these music festivals and everyone has their own levels of experience and their own opinions, etc. And I know even outside of summer festivals and all kinds of musical communities where there are a lot of other musicians, it's very easy to feel like competitive with other people. Could you talk a bit about maybe some of your experiences dealing with that kind of environment and how maybe you get past that to form so many friendships and relationships with other people?
Okay, definitely I will say that before, actually getting to know those people, the competitiveness, it's real. It's a real thing. And I think so many people see it as a bad thing, and it's completely valid why they see it as a bad thing. And but it's also like a good thing. I feel like being competitive, it shouldn't be toxic. It should be a good kind of competitiveness. Because it can be a competitiveness to be like, oh, so this is a standard, and I kind of have to push myself to be like this good. But it can't be something like, oh, they can't be better than me or I have to be better than everybody else because you're just being selfish at that point. So I feel like competitiveness is good to have as long as it's also like benefiting you, but also being kind of respectful of like what other ones are doing because they all have kind of the same purpose. So, but it's definitely a real thing and it has happened to me. And like I was gonna elaborate earlier, but I had to go into that point before I actually get to like meet those people and like oh I can certainly call them my friends, like I feel very like who who is this person right here, why are you doing here, or like why are you this good, so like what do I have to do, so you know what I mean. But once I'm so like chill with them and I actually know them, like that feeling of a little bit of ego kind of goes away.
Hmm. No, I completely agree. I feel like just being able to cheer for someone is so much more fun than constantly having to like think
Than
about.
just having to challenge them, like no.
Right, I know. And also like once you make the friends and once you cheer for other people, like they start cheering for you too. Like I feel like that's
Exactly.
yeah, like that's what I felt when like our chamber group went on stage, like when I went on stage for my solo performance as well. Just like hearing everyone out like applauding, it was just so heartwarming and it made me
For
so
sure.
happy. It's just so precious. And kind of on this vein of like managing your relationships with other people, I kind of wanted to talk about managing like the different aspects of your life, including music, because you are an academic weapon. You are so multi-talented, and I was just wondering, how do you go about managing your time and managing your energy for all of these different parts of your life?
Okay. If I'm being completely honest, For a person that has many things to do, I do not have a list of what I have to do. Like, I know what I have to do in my head, but I just don't put it in like a board on my, I put it on my notes sometimes. But I would say that balancing them right now, especially this year, I have come to be definitely more organized because the day before, I'm like, okay, this is what I have to do. And I would say that it will be much more helpful if I do this consistently, but I know, like in my head, that I have to do these many things. And it has actually not worked all the time because obviously your mind can only like think so much. But I think that putting like maybe like a list that's like, oh, you have to do this at so time, and by this time you have to be done so you can get to the other things. I feel like that for me would be much more helpful, and I recognize that I probably should do that. I mean, all the classes I'm taking are pretty rigorous. And I mean, senior project, I have youth orchestra, I have just like clubs and stuff that I have to take care of. So it just gets all like piled up. So I don't know. For me, it's kind of a weird experience because sometimes it works just like knowing what to do, sometimes it doesn't. And it gets so much frustrating when you're planning ahead so much and like that thing you can't accomplish. So I feel like if I take it day by day, like as long as I know what to do and take it day by day, then I feel like it should work out. And it has worked out for me. So
Absolutely. And also, you have been especially busy this year because it's been your senior year, like you mentioned. And with that, you've had auditions as well. So I was hoping, could you maybe talk about your methods or your preparation process for auditions?
okay. So I think preparing for auditions started 2 years ago. I was with my old teacher because I also switched teachers in like between 2024 and now. So my when I was with my old teacher, I picked, Dvorak to for all my auditions, and I was like, okay. And since I'm supposed to be a grade below, I'm like, okay, I have much less time to like prepare for these big auditions. So I was like, so she was like, okay, I'm gonna give you Dvorak in whatever other rep, which was very complicated, to just start now and like get it solidified in a year and just like warm it up before the auditions. So after I switched to this teacher though, it was just like full technique. Do technique, that I will say. Do a lot of technique. Because that for sure will help you. It has helped me and I have felt the difference myself. And I mean other people have seen the difference too. But I feel like the main takeaway this year is that I was trying to do that complicated rep. I mean, I had Dvorak Cello Concerto, I had Bach Cello Suite number 6, the Prelude, which is so complicated, and I had Beethoven Sonata number 3, and it was so complicated. And I feel like people focus a lot on the rep that you're playing, and it's like, oh, if you don't try to take like easy rep or whatever, because it doesn't look good. But I feel like if there's something that I need to like say or like for to take away, is that it doesn't matter how easy the piece you're playing is. Colleges and all those like admissions like people would much rather see an easier repertoire played like almost perfectly than a harder repertoire that's like mid. Because I was also in like the process of preparing for Sphinx and I had two different concertos, two different suites to prepare. So my teacher was like, no, you can't do this. So let's just like switch your rep to an easier rep. But let's make sure that this rep for both things that were coming up is like neat.
Since you are planning to go into music, right? And then I was wondering if you could talk a bit about like what continues to drive you every single day to, pick up your cello, continue making music, and like what has inspired you to want to continue music as a career?
I feel like there's like a misconception of, like this whole thing of pursuing music in college. People are like, oh my God, you're so driven. Like, how do you do this every single day? You don't. You're not driven every single day to pick up your cello. And I mean, I'll say it. There's days that I just don't pick up my cello. Like, I took off a week. like right after Sphinx and right after Allstate and right after my college auditions, because sometimes you need that time to like for yourself. I mean, every day picking up your cello or picking up your instrument, to be a little bit more general, and just like sitting there, it can get really exhausting, especially when there's sometimes like days or weeks that you're just not getting any progress done. So I feel like what keeps me going is just like making my loved ones feel proud of how far I've come. And I mean, I do it all for them. They give up everything for me, so I do it all for them. Like, if anything, I'm gonna be successful. Not for myself, not just for myself, but also for them. So that's what keeps me going. And I mean, I've loved like the music kind of world from a very early age. So that hasn't gone away. So it's just been like a little bit up and down because you have those ups and downs moments. So if anything, I would probably just do it for them and for me.
I agree so much with what you're saying, and I'm so glad that you said that because I've been thinking about this a lot recently because I've just been getting so exhausted of practicing and like managing stuff has been really difficult lately. And I was thinking back to what my teachers used to tell me when I was little. They were like, you have to practice every single day. Like one day of not practicing is going to set you back like 2 days. And I think like that kind of mindset, like I think it's great to instill like diligence and hard work into little kids, but like once you get to a point, like rest, like you said, can be more productive than
Rest is really
practice.
important, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can do other things during your rest, like, I don't know, score study, listen to recordings. So it doesn't have to be like a break of doing nothing. It can be a productive break.
Now that we're at the end of our time for today, I was just wondering, do you have any closing thoughts or maybe like a final message that you'd like to leave to everyone who's listening to this?
I mean, this is pretty obvious, and everyone says this, but the way to what you want to accomplish, it's gonna be really rocky. And it will go either really good for some others, and it will go really bad for some other people. But I feel like towards like your end goal, please just like let go of the result, if that makes sense. I know like those statements that I just made are kind of contradictory, but like in the way, you will find little things. Like, for example, in music, you will find a competition, an audition that you're probably not going to win. And that's okay. Just don't let go of the result and always try to do the best that you possibly can. And don't let one single result or one single like bad performance just like define your whole worth or like your whole career, because that's not what it means. So I would say that.
Wow, thank you so much, Anna. I'm just honestly so grateful that you took the time to chat with me today. I really hope everyone listening to this also had as much fun as I did listening to all of your amazing words of advice. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this episode, and please look forward to the next one, which will be released in 2 weeks.